man walked across a swaying suspension bridge, freely mocking his companion for being a coward. The others felt dissatisfied, and one after another they stepped onto the bridge. Unexpectedly, the bridge was surprisingly sturdy. Soon they began playing around on it. Several strange bells were tied to the side of the bridge, but none of them noticed. The group successfully reached the other side. Then, suddenly, Nick became expressionless. Without any control over himself, he slowly walked toward the edge of the cliff, and then he fell. His companions rushed forward to check on him, only to discover that Nick had fallen into a cave. Without hesitation, Jason immediately entered the cave to rescue him, but after entering, he saw Nick standing completely motionless, in front of an 8-armed skeleton. No matter how many times Jason called his name, Nick gave no response. Jason was about to step forward and pull him away, but then he heard Nick make a faint sound. Jason instantly stopped and leaned closer to listen. Unexpectedly, Nick warned him not to touch him. He said he would die anyway. Jason was stunned, but after a brief hesitation, he still decided to pull Nick up. However, the moment Jason touched him, Nick suddenly burst into tears. His eyes widened as he stared at the skeleton in front of him. Jason immediately felt terrified. Seeing Nick's abnormal state, he quickly carried him onto his back and rushed back to the cabin. At that moment, everyone noticed that Nick was tightly holding a strange bone whistle. To ensure Nick's safety, they left Amy alone to guard him, while the others went out together to find help. But not long after they left, Amy suddenly saw a strange figure outside the window. Panicked, Amy rushed out of the house to seek help. However, the shadow remained completely silent and unmoving. Then, upon closer inspection, Amy realized it was slowly approaching her. She suddenly sensed that something was wrong. The shadow suddenly sprinted wildly toward her. Amy quickly turned around and ran back into the house. She locked the door, then picked up a knife in fear, ready to defend herself. But the knocking continued, louder and louder. Just as the door was about to be broken down, the voices of her companions suddenly came from outside. Amy suppressed her fear and gathered the courage to open the door. Unexpectedly, it really was her companions. But Amy couldn't help asking whether they had seen any strange figure outside. They all shook their heads. They said they hadn't seen anyone else. After confirming that there were no outsiders around, Amy lost control. She shouted that she wanted to leave. Her companions tried to comfort her, but Amy angrily rebuked them. They had no choice but to stand silently to the side. The terrifying event struck again.